Hello and welcome to another episode of West Underground. And today we have none other than Koda joining us. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you will soon. These are a band that I'm surprised they're not playing stadiums by now. Just a great Aussie Sydney act. That I actually became aware of you from Paul, our second interviewer in here. Paul, say hello.
Hey guys.
Hey Paul, how are you?
Not bad. How you guys been?
Awesome, man. Long time no see.
Yeah, I remember you guys from that gig you did with Avalanche. That was epic.
Man. Paddington RSL, I remember it.
That's it, yeah.
So Zach, I think when Paul saw you play live, you must have had your hair out, and I've chopped the mop a bit down since it used to be way longer. But Paul sent me over a photo and the caption read, "Is this you?"
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I get you. Yeah, it would have been out.
I don't see any resemblance.
Damn, you got a good memory. I don't remember sending you that, Hamish. Well, it was a few beers deep and a few bourbons deep as well.
Your goggles on that night, Paul, I reckon.
No, it would have been all out. I generally have it tied up often in the day, especially when I'm cooking.
Nice, man. Me too. You don't want to get hair in the food.
That's it.
But anyway, getting on topic of you guys, how'd you start? Like, how'd you guys start the band?
We started out as a covers band. Interestingly enough, pretty sure this is the original lineup of that covers band. And we just used to play really random parties. Started out with surf club gigs, and yeah, it just was kind of spawned from there. Pete, Oscar, Nikki.
So we were just playing lots of cover shows, lots of parties, and really loving it. And then one day, one of us just kind of brought a riff. Zach brought a riff forwards, and said, "I want to write a song." And then we all put our heads together, and we kind of, over the course of the next 6 months, pushed out a couple of tunes. And we were still playing cover shows at that point, which was, we'd kind of sneak our own songs in amongst kind of Australian classics in sets and see kind of people's reactions. And I guess that's when we kind of started to become Koda, was when we wrote our original music and then took to a stage playing an original show in early 2019.
Yeah.
I still remember the first day where Zach came and asked me to play drums for him. We were studying at uni at the time, and I believe we had less than a week to learn a full set of cover songs for a party. This is going back in time. It was good fun though. We practiced every day, and everyone had a great time. And then we just had such a good time doing it. We never stopped.
So Pete, when you got the set list and you only had the week to learn it, did the boys make it easy? And was it just a bunch of 4-chord songs, or did you really have to get your books out and really study for that?
Both. It was a good mix. It was a good mix, but like, when in doubt, 2 and 4. But like, at the end of the day, the whole point was just for everybody to have a great time at the party, and everybody did, to the point where it's like they were shouting for more. So,
well, that's what you want, and it's a good outcome for a bit of baptism by fire. But then do you think that you guys playing covers and having that kind of like traditional start has been a beneficial thing, like, for you guys?
Yeah, I think so and so. I think definitely to start with, I think we learned probably how things sort of fitted together in set list design. I think that was probably the biggest thing that stood out from the start. I think like really learning from inspired works or developing inspired works probably came a bit more recently, but I think set list design massively. Like, for me, that would have been the biggest one. What about you guys?
Yeah, definitely learning about the flow of energy and how to control a crowd. like just knowing, like we'd almost create like 2 or 3 different little set lists within the main one, just so we could really control that energy. And
I found definitely back at the start, covers. I don't know, for me specifically, covers were really important. A really important part in kind of finding my voice and my place within a band as well. It's funny, like, you know, we were just playing other people's songs, but in a big way, I went from being this kid that had never really sung before, and then more so with the encouragement of the band as well, through these songs, learning how to sing and having those references was good, to kind of start to develop into the artist I've become.
Dude, well, it's worked for you, man. Your voice is awesome.
Thank you.
Like this is a bit off topic, but I remember once going through Instagram and you guys must have had like a promoted post at the time, and it was just of you on stage at some venue, and you were just like starting a song, but it was just awesome. You know the one I'm talking about? Does it come to mind?
Do you know Zach?
Yeah, it'd be Treachery and Red.
Treachery and Red?
Probably.
Yeah, whatever it was, man, it looked like it, you know, it was just like a perfect, you know, post. Like it just popped up, and then I was intrigued, and then I kind of fell down your rabbit hole one night after that. I was like, I have to find more about these fellas.
Welcome to the rabbit hole.
You're in it now, mate.
But guys, when you started like the band going and playing covers, did you have any embarrassing names back then? Did you have to go through a couple of different name changes?
yes,
Some shockers.
What were the names?
Well, the
Smooth.
first one. The
Yeah.
first one was Principal Skinner.
I think that rings a bell. I think I remember that when I was in the
I didn't even put together the Simpsons reference till I was sitting in a pub and someone asked me, you know, like, oh, you know, you're playing a band, what's it called? And I was like, oh, Principal Skinner. I was like, no. Oh, realized. And then Pete will take you through the next one.
then we had the other one that sort of came up was Seaweed Cathedral, which was all right. But then at the same time,
Correct.
Koda came up.
Yeah, Koda came up like, I reckon maybe a couple of months after, like 2
Almost
months.
immediately after.
Yeah, not soon.
But I know I was kind of because I was kind of getting used to the idea, but then I realized we weren't in a 60s prog rock band.
Spot on.
Glad you picked Koda and you're not the Seaweeds, man.
Yeah, us too.
And Zach, who are we named after?
Yeah, named after my dog. This one. This is Koda.
The original
Yeah.
Koda.
The one and only.
Yeah, and there's Rusty as well. But we're named after Koda. I was flying to Brisbane for something, and I was doing heaps of sketch work. And I was like, oh, that's the name. Because I'd seen it on her collar, and I was like, oh, that looks so cool. And a while ago, Pete was like, the key to a good band name, I think it was Jimmy Eatwell that said it. It was like, the key to a good band name is something that looks good on a t-shirt. And I put that on a shirt, and I was like, oh, now that looks cool.
Yes.
Well, I thought it looked cool. I don't know if it does, but I think it does.
Yeah, man, I think it does. Like I've seen a couple people wear your shirts around. So, you know, it goes back to your theory of if it looks good on a t-shirt, now people are actually, you know, walking around with it on.
Yeah, no, I believe it's Jimmy Eatwell's theory, but yeah, I just borrowed it.
Yeah, and I think there's something to bands with like one-worded names. Like I think that's cool. Like it's very
thanks.
memorable.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting point. Jet. Enough said.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mother.
Correct. Wolf Mother.
Yeah. Because so many bands have the in front of it and then like the following word, but you guys have just gone straight to the point. Forget the
Man, we just got lucky. Like sometimes I think on somewhere just put something in front of you and it's there. Thank you.
Oh man, that's awesome. And like how long did it take you? Like when you play gigs now, I've been meaning to see you a couple of times, but like due to work and things like that, I haven't had a chance. I'm supposed to go with Paul. But what do you still sneak a couple of covers in there? Like, do you still go back to them occasionally, or now you're just playing sets of your own material?
Super rarely, hey.
I haven't played one with a cover in there yet.
Yeah, we haven't
Played
done one.
originals. No.
I think the biggest thing we discovered as soon as Oscar mentioned we used to put our originals into sets, I think the biggest turning point was we realized like we were getting more of a connection with an audience in a space out of our originals. Like people, you know, I don't remember, maybe they were into our covers, maybe they weren't, but it was like one distinct night. People were like, where'd you come up with that? And we were like, oh, we wrote that in the garage. You know, but honestly, like I think for us, we struggled for some reason like previously we've really struggled to convey it in the right way and establish, I guess, what we'd maybe describe as like our connection through covers. I think we just find it more authentically through our own stuff, I guess, and I think that's probably why.
I was just going to say, just on that topic of original songs, at what point did you guys decide to like, yep, let's just make original songs now?
It would have been our last covers gig. Angela, probably the lady that really gave us like the biggest push, just like pulled us aside and said, all right, enough's enough. When are you guys going to start doing this seriously? And I think we were like all super scared, you know. It is a big thing, you know, and we were just like, okay, we'll try it. And we just tried it and it was just the best, man. It was amazing.
And actually, Nikki booked us for our first show. Who at the time was working in another project and reached out to us and asked us to play with him with his group. And it was pretty incredible. It was very, very exciting.
We asked very nicely.
I think I remember the time I was like, oh, what's a band that we could get? And I was like, just help out like the local, help out my mates as well. And like that, I saw them like doing a thing because I had originally played with them in like 1 or 2 cover band gigs, I think. And that was like when I was in another band called the Dissolutes, when I was first coming up. And then I was like, okay, cool. I just want to like play with as many people and like help out. And then I was like, wow, I remember playing it as well. And after that gig, I was like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. Like I didn't expect to be able to have a connection like I did with my band with like other people. I thought it was like this exclusive thing I had in my head. And then I realized that was like me realizing like, oh, this is actually, you can actually do it with other people. And then like other kind of collaboration showed me that as well. And then like from that came the project where I actually got these guys in to like support us. Which is really awesome. And that went well, I think, really well for Koda. I remember we didn't play the best show that night, but these guys did. So if I remember correctly, it was like our first time, like, it's like an electronic mixed with live and trying to like pull it off, get the crowd engaged, and we're just like, okay, we can't do it that way. I had to like reassess it. And then the next couple of gigs, it was better. But like that first time was like the first time trying it. But I just remember, Koda, I remember they were really stoked about it. So I was happy. It went well for some people.
Man, we were just so grateful. It was amazing. I remember like
I recently, your stories, like I was watching a documentary like last night on NXS, and they had a moment where their manager booking them to play covers pulled them aside and said that they were only ever going to be a cover band. And your story is like the exact opposite. It's like somebody pulled you aside and was like, when are you going to stop doing this shit and play your own?
That's awesome.
I remember feeling like I was in trouble, like I was being held by the scruff of my neck. I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, that's right.
Well, you're doing well, boys. It's I'm glad you listened.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
Then what was the process like for you then going, oh shit, now we have to write some songs? Like, did it come easy for you? Did you have to write 50 before you got a good one? What was the...
I think it kind of just, when it came to writing songs, we would get into Pete's garage and we'd jam for like 2 hours, just playing, going off one idea to the next and kind of bouncing around. And every now and then either someone would bring something or we'd find something really cool and we go, okay, what can we write here? And then over this there was a course of about 6 months where we were just writing lots of songs, one after the other. And I think we had, for our first show, I think we had like 8 or 9 tracks. And
like 4 or 5, and we made up 3.
Yeah, I do remember there was one like we weren't too sure of, and
3.
I mean, as far as writing went, it just kind of was like a real collaborative process over those kind of like 6 months, and then ever since we started playing shows, we just never stopped. And when an idea comes up, we flesh it out, and we're kind of, I think as a band, we're still learning to write, which is cool. Like kind of have been learning the whole time. And it's a really cool thing to be a part of, watching kind of the group grow and get better at writing and learning how we work with one another.
That's awesome. So you guys are all individually contributing to like everything like equally? Like there's not like one, you're not writing the melodies, or do you write lyrics all the time and bank it?
Not always. A lot of the ideas have come from Zach. He kind of really drives the writing force in the band. And constantly like blows my mind with like the stuff he comes up with and the energy he brings into practice. Like it's incredible. And as far as like lyrics and melody go, I think between Zach and I, we've written a lot of the lyrics. It's never really been one or the other. Like there's some songs where he's written them and other songs where I have, and then a lot of our tracks we've kind of done half. And then with Pete and Nikki as well now, the whole time it's always been in the writing process, like there'll be Zach will bring this idea forwards, and generally speaking, it can be quite a solid idea. And then we'll kind of go, okay, we'll try these things, and then build our parts around that kind of core idea. And Zach and now Nikki as well also and Pete have really great producing brains, and they're really good at kind of listening to everything and knowing what's going to fit in next. I'll let one of them elaborate maybe more on the process.
Yeah, I was like, for me, just coming into the group, I've kind of just been learning like the whole set list and everything. So I've been like, okay, just getting my head around that. But then since lockdown, it's actually been a good thing in a way, because it's been able to allow me to get my head around the songs and like really get inside them and understand the style. And then from my own like writing perspective, like when I come up with a riff or something or a section, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Where's this like sit? Does it sit with like Koda, or does it sit with like a different project? And then I'm like, cool, like I can just see that now. And I feel like now that I understand the band more, I feel like, okay, I want to inject some of my influence in there now, with like, it's still like molding to what the band is and letting it like evolve naturally, instead of just taking a hard like right turn or something, which is what you don't want to do necessarily. Like you want to kind of let things gradually evolve and like take the listeners with you as well, and like respect what's come before you. So that's been interesting, like seeing these guys develop as well, like from when they were in a covered band and seeing them evolve from like the outside now coming in. I find it kind of funny because like the band I left, we were kind of like at this stage when I left it, but now I'm kind of like coming into a band at this stage. So it's kind of almost like in the terms of like a band context and coming into where it like left off in my last thing. So it's kind of cool then seeing that now. It's like, oh, okay, now we can get like really creative, and everyone's got a switched on mind with like arrangements and writing, and like Pete with his mixing and production as well. Like it's like all the ingredients are there to create something really cool, I feel.
That's awesome. And I guess the one thing I'd like to add is just we understand that Nikki is the most recent addition to Koda, and personally I could not be more thankful to have him in the band. It's just been interesting how the songwriting process has changed from my perspective over time, because like Nicky's been in the band for a short period of time, but in that period of time, a whole new song has already been written, and it is killer. And just being able to write songs with these guys has been an absolute pleasure. Like, we do very much respect each other, and anytime somebody has an idea, we do our best to nail that idea, to really try it in earnest, to really figure out if it works. If it doesn't work, and that's absolutely fine. But I guess just the massive amount of respect that we all have for each other, and has just been a fantastic experience.
I smiled then when it cut to you, Pete, because I could already tell by the way that you complimented like Nicky, just and all of you guys, like there just seems to be like a massive, it seems like you guys all are grateful and respect each other in a way that I think that's really unique to you guys. I think that's really special. But I just wanted to ask, like, how are you like creating the songs? Are you kind of doing it individually over like Logic or Pro Tools or something like that, or do you record the drums, or do you kind of just hook some mics up and then when you're all together and do it through Logic?
I'll discuss the production a little bit here, if that's Q.
Take it away, man.
Yeah, this is your
Wait,
domain.
are you talking recording or just writing production?
Like recording, like say you've kind of got something to a point where it's a bit of, like it's a demo and you want to kind of go further with it. What's the refinement strategy?
Pete is your man.
Yeah.
All right.
Pixies.
I guess only recently have we really discovered what we are most comfortable doing. We've been in a studio situation a few different times with different people, different engineers, and there's been a few times where we've walked away just a little unsatisfied, just a little, I hate to say this word, but a little disappointed. Only like during this lockdown, we've obviously just wanted to continue moving forward and pushing forward to some of our productions that were started way back in February.
Yeah.
So we've got some drums laid down to the studio. I thought they sounded all right. I gave them a bit of a mix and they came out really nice. On top of that, Zach laid down his guitar riffs, and the really amazing benefit of that is that he's able to do it in his own time and just be able to be comfortable, and with his performances and just being able to experiment. The cool thing about that is once it sounds schmick and it's nailed, we just send those guitars off to a studio for reamping. And we're very lucky to have met Dan at Deathwolf, who is an extremely talented engineer who very much vibes with the sound that we're going for. He just sent us back these amazing sounding guitars. And Nicky, who is also a producer himself, is able to track some great sounding bass. And yeah, just being able to pull it all together remotely into a single session, and it sounds amazing. So needless to say, we are currently working on some tracks, and we do hope to bring them to the world soon. I'm sure the guys will have some more to add on top of that, but I feel very satisfied with what we've created. Oh, and to answer more questions, I use Pro Tools and I am an audio engineer.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Hey boys, just before you chip in, is Pete like what the secret wizard at the back, just helping, like making all the magic happen in terms of this side of things?
I think primary wizard is Pete. The Dumbledore of the band is Pete. For sure.
Gandalf.
I think you touched on like how we like respect each other before. I think probably one of the best bits about this band is kind of anything that anyone lacks, someone's bound to pick it up. But yeah, to answer your question, Pete would handle 90, pick your percentage of that, and any 1% or whatever that might just be like a question or something, any one of us will just pick up. And it's not, that's it. Pete's always the guy like running everything on that end. Well, everything, running almost all of that on that end, and at shows, even like helping techs and whatnot. So yeah, he's your guy.
Awesome. And you just mentioned shows. Now, what has been your favorite show that you guys have played as a band? Like, what are some of the show highlights?
You guys go first.
Oh, what to pick?
Maybe pick one or two each.
I reckon. Oh, so for me personally, the last time we played Crowbar, with Harlequin Alley, and it was our last show with our previous bass player. That was pretty magic. The show was really special because all the bands on the lineup, Harlequin Alley like created this really awesome show that was like everyone was just there to listen to each other. Like it wasn't a competition, and it was a really friendly environment. And I loved how they just like had fun with the whole night, and it just felt like a really awesome thing to be a part of. And then probably that, and one of the times we played Lazy Bones Lounge, that venue's absolutely incredible, and we had two really, really amazing nights there. It just felt like we're on this roll of getting better and better sets, and like they were more and more exciting. And when we played Lazy Bones for the first time, the energy with the crowd and that set was just, yeah, it was a phenomenal experience. Very lucky to have been a part of that.
Now, Paul, you've got your famous question, which appears in most interviews. Now,
Yeah, it seems to put off a lot of bands when I ask this. And since we're talking about shows, would you guys prefer to play at a great venue or with a great lineup?
Personal question or band consensus?
Just personal, but just for you guys individually. Every band's different. It's not all together.
For me personally, would be an awesome lineup. Like connection is everything for me, and I think fundamentally that's with what's being brought to the table and projected. And I think a great lineup, well, my idea of a great lineup would just be like, just beautiful people, beautiful bands, and just really focused on projecting that. That's my.
And to build on that, one of the most recent shows we played was at Crowbar, and it was a Sunday afternoon. There was only 20 to 30 people there. It was in the front room, like really quiet, raining outside, like strangest time for a show. But it's probably I think as a band, to feel the energy in the room after that, everyone was just so happy, and the other bands on the lineup were really awesome. We played with Salt and Steel, and they are just the loveliest people. And I guess that lineup just, I don't know, it was something special about it. And it didn't really matter where we were playing. It was just the people that were there and the people we were playing to and alongside.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd say, lineup over venue. If it's like the lineup's going to pull the people. So if you've got a good band, it's going to pull good people, I feel. Kind of goes hand in hand. And then, like going back, like for my favorite gig, because I haven't played as many of these guys as a band, probably Frankie's. First time playing there, just like as a moment, as a Sydney band in general, like just as a musician being able to play there, especially now that like we know it's closing, was like really special playing that. And then also, the last gig we played was at Crowbar, I'm pretty sure. Like that for me as well, just the people I met there and the performance. And I felt like that as like from what I've been in like that was one of the best times we played as well. It was all starting to like gel. And it was just really memorable. It was just like, this is why I do it. And so it didn't need to be heaps of people there. It's like, but the people that were there were just like very present, very welcoming. Just like I had met some of the best people that day from like all year. So it was pretty special that for me personally.
No, I got to agree with Nikki. That was a fantastic show. And I agree with all three of you. Vibe is everything. A fantastic lineup is what you require. It does it like venue, I mean, you could have a great venue, but but if the vibe isn't right, no one's going to have a good night. Yeah,
I agree. This is like the most 50-50 question. Like we ask bands all the time, and it's, but I agree with you guys. I think that, the lineup makes a, huge difference. But speaking of lineup, have you and playing shows, have you had any shows as a band that were just complete disasters? You don't have to say who you played with or where you played at, but that turned into great stories later on.
Yes.
I'm actually interested. Which one is your like? Or do I want to know?
Well, it ended up with somebody through a table. So
Oh yeah, that was rough.
Oh man, that's a
Oh,
great story.
was-
That-
was-
that one.
Was that the riot I heard? Was that like a riot that night or
Oh,
someone else?
don't know. I remember feeling pretty like, whoa, this is like not the side or what we're about. And we kind of, I think we all left like pretty like just freaked out because it just wasn't our wavelength. We were just like, oh. I can remember a pretty funny one that was just, I couldn't be avoided, just like working band. We played down just south of Wollongong in Dapto on the Friday night, and two of us were like really quite sick, so we had to sleep a bit longer than we normally would have to get back for a Saturday afternoon show. And we walked in and we were early, inverted commas, but we were like 40 minutes early, and we just got wrung out to dry, like yelled at, the most I've ever been yelled at by anyone.
Really?
And like we just couldn't get back to Sydney quick enough. Like we couldn't drive any faster.
Oh,
And we're just sitting there and we're just like, oh, I'm a bit scared now.
So
But
who?
it was just iconic. It was like, it was so funny. And
Was it the venue
And-
organizers or the bands?
don't want to say, but it was epic. It was like
That's-
just so funny because we were just sitting there like, you know, what's your excuse? And we were like, we literally just came home, you know, and it was this classic. And
It was.
I don't want to talk about it anymore, but it's just hilarious because we
That
were
was
just
a
sitting there
very,
like
very strange.
almost in tears
Yeah,
and
that's
just,
weird. That's not right. That's weird. I've never heard that before.
look, everyone was under pressure. It was fine. It was hilarious. It was like, man, there's nothing we can do. Like,
oh god.
just like kind of scared, kind of want to go home. But man, we just did our thing, and like I said, everyone was just under massive pressure, and it's just classic. For me, that's the funniest one.
Well, on the lighter side, what bands would you like to play with? Like a lineup, like a
Oh.
3 to 4 bands you like to play with on one night.
that we've played with before, or can we choose any?
Yeah, before or who you haven't played with.
Okay.
Salt and Steel. That would be one pick for me, for sure.
Love to play with the band Creo at some point.
Oh,
They're kind of like they're like kind of like, I guess, heroes in a way. Like I went and saw them, felt a bit starstruck, and just like didn't really we didn't really start a conversation with them, but that's something that one day I'd love to be able to talk to them about.
barely
They're an
even talked
incredible
to
Sydney
them.
band. Absolutely incredible Sydney band.
Oh, Shady Nasty. I would say I would love to play with them. They're an epic local Sydney band.
And yeah, I think also like broader spectrum, two bands coming out of the States that I'd really like to play with when they come out would be Mammoth and Tyler Bryant's band. They'd be awesome to play with, just to open for anywhere.
Big time.
Is this any band though? Like it could be any band at all.
Yeah, local or throw international as well if you want. Yeah.
I just threw that in there because I like them.
Dude, I'm just gonna have to say it, Chili Peppers.
Dude,
That would be insane. Support
that'd be epic.
They came out their next tour.
Open for Chili Peppers would be awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
John Frusciante, holy shit. That'd be like my dream come true. That's it. I can die happy man.
I hope the Red Hot Chili Peppers hear that. You guys at Kudos Bank Arena.
Imagine that, cheeky little surf beforehand, bit of dinner.
Yeah, have dinner with the bands. Yeah, that'd be mad.
That'd be epic.
Holy shit.
Bit of 2-minute noodles for the boys. This is how we eat.
And you've just touched on what band you'd like to play, but what venues would you like to play, boys?
And more.
Yeah, that's definitely a Sydney band.
And more Metro, Factory Theatre,
Yeah,
Oxford Art.
Oxford Art. Oh wait, we played Factory. Never mind.
You
Yeah, I was
boys,
gonna say you guys would definitely play Factory. You guys would
Yeah.
definitely be in a Factory. Yeah,
Let's get
Thought
that
so.
one with Oxford Art
Do
Factory.
it again. Just do it again.
even the
Shit.
Oxford Art Factory, I'm sure you guys could knock
yeah.
that one off the bucket list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're working. We'll just
Easily.
design that when we're ready.
Yeah. The Oxford Art Factory is like a strange place because I feel like they kind of take everyone and anybody. Like you'll see like big artists play at the Oxford Art Factory one week, and then it'll be kind of like an underground, band at the Oxford Art Factory the next.
For sure.
Because they've got 2 rooms as well. So they've got a smaller room and they've got like the main stage. Yeah, it's cool. I saw Kwame there actually. That was amazing. Like seeing him perform there with this electric performance and like the crowd. So it's just like, and also the Concrete Lawn, like a Sydney punk band. They were awesome as well. Like the energy for that show at the Oxford Art Factory was incredible. So I feel like, yeah, if you get the right, if you pack it out, it's going to be a good night. And especially I think with the style of music we play, get people rocking, get people moshing.
Rock
Go
it.
wrong.
For sure, man. And that day's coming very soon. Like the finish line is in sight for Sydney at the moment. They say it's the 11th. What's the future for you guys? Like, have you booked gigs yet? Have you got what can we look forward to?
Straight out of the gates, we got 3 shows, which we've been super lucky to come about in the last 2 weeks for 2 of them, and a bit earlier for one of them. We're playing October 21. I'll double check that date after. That came through today. We're supporting the Radicals at the Duke of Enmore. That's a Thursday show. Then we're at Frankie's on November 6th. And then we are at Lazy Bones on, I believe it's November 18. And that's supporting Terabyte.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, we got super lucky to jump on some of those bills, and Frankie's are running a double shot sort of thing, and that's set looking awesome. It's shaping up really cool with some hard rock acts, and yeah, it's all stations are go, it seems.
Awesome. I saw the Radicals. They did their post, like a couple of days ago about, finding bands to play with. Did you guys hop on with that with them, or?
Yeah, I messaged them at 10 o'clock this morning. A good friend of ours, Jared Chops, sent me a message maybe last night, but I must have been asleep, or maybe it was this morning, and I was like, yeah, I'll respond to that right now. 2 minutes later, one of the Radicals crew were just like, awesome, here it is. Just wrote to the boys. So thank you, Jared. If you do watch this, I really appreciate that.
Oh man, that's awesome. We spoke to those guys last week, man, and they're all fun dudes.
For sure, man. Yeah, we spent a lot of today listening to their stuff, I think. Certainly.
Dude, actually rips. I was listening to it. I'm like, wow, like these guys are good. Like, because they're only new. They've only released a couple of songs over like last year and this year. So I'm like really excited to see how they develop.
It's going to be awesome, man. I'm really keen for that. And first gig back, like, how lucky.
We had to cancel Duke of Enmore like earlier this year. And then I came back again. And I'm like, oh, sweet. There we go.
Fun, dude.
Now it sounds like you boys have got like, gigs covered, but have you got any music that's going to be dropped soon?
Yes. We are just reviewing the kind of final stages of a mix for one, which has just come off Pete. So thank you again, mate, for that. That was one of our remote kind of things. And then another one is going into mixing currently. And then obviously they'll get sent off and put into the pipeline to come out. It's a bit of a longer turnaround. What feels long, it's not really to getting LPs pressed, but with a longer turnaround with uploading through record labels and things, unions, like distros and things like that. But yeah, before the end of the year, I would say definitely one, if not two. We're undecided on how to release those tracks, and then we go into studio quite soon after our Frankie show. So
literally the last week of November.
Yeah, so it'll be the weekend after our Lazy Bones gig. We're in tracking some more stuff, which I guess will be next year's release.
Cool, man. Are you guys gonna just drop singles one after each other? Is that how they're gonna kind of come out?
Undecided. I think the goal. Oh, Rusty. I think the goal is longer form. Every time, yeah. Pete's nodding. Nicky's drinking water. I think Oscar's probably not. Yeah, Oscar's definitely nodding. But I think, look, every time we go in the studio, because our sets, like going back to covers, have always been designed around, you know, that experience and energy. I think everyone's always asking us, you know, when are you going to do something longer form, and when we can. But yeah, I think longer forms on the cards is our next kind of goal. We've just been learning how to do it.
Awesome, man. That is really cool.
Oh, thank you.
So is it going to be, do you reckon, be like a full length album or EP, like a, you know?
In my mind, personally, I think full length album would be unreal, but the boys will tell you I'm a wayfarer and dreamer. I love that stuff. So I don't know. It'll be just like,
Nice.
I guess it just depends on how the process goes in the studio and how we get it all out. I think
for sure.
that list, it's just a matter of like refining it and getting it all down, and just depending how long we want to take. So it's just like more like logistical kind of things, like problem solving. Like we know we can get all the songs there. It's just a matter of time, I guess, like how long it's going to take. Get it to that point. If it is
All the not rock and roll stuff.
And guys, we'll probably start wrapping this interview up pretty soon. But before we do, what is the most like rock and roll moment you guys have had as a band? And then what's the most like Spinal Tap moment you've had as a band?
Iconic.
Well, I once blew up into green smoke. For anyone who watches the movie, you'll get that. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. Jesus Christ, get on it. It's a fantastic movie.
Most rock and roll moment. Spinal Tap moment for me is I do actually have a knob on my guitar that goes to 11. I work on guitars at work, and I was going through my toolbox and I was like, you're kidding. And that day I just got a new guitar and I was like, bang on. So that goes to 11. Most rock and roll moment. For me would be I'd finished work, like must have been a January or February gig. And I was surf instructing. That's one of my jobs. And I just came to the gig and I was like full on zinced up, like a zinc monster. Just like the hair was probably barely dry. If it was dry, it was just straight salty. Just hopped on stage. I was definitely dressed, but I must have been all right. They let me on stage, but yeah, that was pretty awesome. I love that.
Nice, man. And is your guitar louder now? Like, because it's just one more than 10?
This one goes to 11. Look, yeah, it would be. It definitely increases it. Actually, yeah, I think the first thing I did was probably tell the boys, and then the second thing I did was send it straight away to Blade from Wicked Things, because I knew he'd just appreciate it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he sent me back some funny stuff. So, just,
Nice.
Yeah, awesome.
What'd you put it on? Like a Strat or?
That one's currently on a PV Wolfgang. Do you remember Eddie? Yeah, the Wolfgangs. One of them, so an all black one of them, which has got a full on. I paint that every couple of shows.
Nice, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. You like, is it like you don't feel scared like painting it or doing any of that shit, or?
Not at all, man. Like I think for me, like my guitars are just an extension of me, and I think, yeah, I honestly feel more comfy up there with that, with something I've painted, I've like it's like a car, like something I've double checked and tuned and fixed and adjusted. I love it. And I don't ding them or anything on purpose, but no, with paint pens and spray, you can clean them easy if you muck up. But no, it's a beautiful thing. It's kind of part of my ritual. It's like a really fun experience.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
What about yourself, by the way? Do you
Pardon?
play heaps of guitars? I can see heaps in the background.
Yeah, man. Like all mine are like customized and dinged up pretty well. And like
cool.
I'm on the same page as you. Like most of mine over here, when I get, some of my friends come along and have a look at them, they're like, why would you have done this?
You don't understand.
Yeah, you don't. That's it.
Oh, no, I hope to see them one day. They look awesome.
Oh man, I'd love to show you, man. There's a couple in parts at the moment that I'm just trying to see what I want to do at the moment.
Oh, best way to be.
Yeah, like do you do that? Like the whole Eddie Van Halen thing, like start pulling apart different shit and just going, what will this do if I put this one in it? And then kind of go down like the gear rabbit holes.
Yeah, 100%. I do that a lot. I've had heaps of fun with that. At the moment, I actually just got a new guitar. I feel like I'm always saying that. Just got a new guitar. Just got a new guitar, Ginger. And I've just kind of been like making friends with that guitar and really developing that relationship. But yeah, I'm always working. The biggest one is like for me is like spring configurations and like keeping them balanced with tremolos. Like that's really important for my style and sound. But pickups, tuning, strings, everything all the time.
Nice, man.
Most weeks.
I might have to message you soon because I've ordered a telly body that I'm going to try to route out because I don't have a guitar with a Floyd Rose. So I want to have that experience, but I want to put it in a Telecaster.
Oh, I used to have one. Epic. So awesome. Sold it. Shouldn't have sold it, but iconic, man. Mick Mars mirror guitar. He was one of the guys that did that.
Awesome, man. Like it's because they're hard. You can't find them. You have to either make them yourself or spend a good coin on getting one.
Rare as hen's teeth. But yeah, drop me a message. I can help you find parts for them.
Too. Thanks, man. That'll be awesome. Now, anyway, for the rest of the boys, getting off the guitar jargon, what's kind of been the most rock and roll and Spinal Tap moment for? I think there's only two, Oscar and Nikki.
You want to go, Oscar?
Yep. The most Spinal Tap moment. I don't know. I don't like to. I've never really focused on like all the stuff that's ever gone wrong.
Never shown up to the wrong venue or anything?
Pardon?
You've never shown up to the wrong venue?
I don't think so. I don't think we're not, like. I feel like there'll definitely be more stories to tell when we get to like that side where we start getting more technical with our stage. But at the moment, not anything for me that comes to mind. Most rock and roll moment. I mean, like post show always feels pretty amazing, like walking on air, especially when we play a good show with a great band at a great venue. But I know the moments that I think I treasure the most in all this is probably when we're at practice and we land upon like a really, really incredible idea for the first time. Like when it's like that first time we hear this riff that's so unique, or someone puts together a specific line that just works really well. And everyone in the room kind of just like, it's like we have smiles from ear to ear and it just lights up. And we're all just, when we finish playing, we're just like, whoa, like that was incredible. And I don't know, for me, that feels the most rock and roll because it's like, it's just us in the room, like no one else is there. And it's like the real pure, I don't know. It's just like, there's nothing but the music in that moment. And for me, that's probably it.
I will mention one more thing. Oscar, the other most rock and roll element are the tightest leather pants I've ever seen.
Leather pants, definitely. That's up there.
Dude, if they were any tighter, they'd be inside you.
those things, the button, like it only just does up.
To be fair,
I eat too much, it won't do
Or you
that.
lose the zip, mate. Lose it.
Have you been putting them on in lockdown just in case you put on a kilo or two, like just to check?
It's funny. I haven't even given them a second thought. They're probably still in the back of my car from the last show we played. After the show, I was like, get these things off me. And they went in the back of the car and I haven't thought about them since.
How hard are they to get off after a show? Do they like stick to you? Like,
they peel off. Like they kind of like, they go inside out. So they come off pretty easy. Getting them on's the tough bit because I busted the zip on them because they're just like too tight for me. And I went to pick up an amp and like when I bent down to pick it up, they just went and the zip came undone. So now I have to like weave it all in every time.
bro, that's your.
Sometimes it needs a hand, so I'll go over and help him. But, you know, that's special occasions.
Nick's been the person like standing next to my car while I like stand there going like trying to put them on, waving at people, being like, "Hey, yeah, nothing to see here."
How do you give them a wash, or you just don't?
I try and like wear them for as little time as possible.
Have never been washed.
They haven't been washed yet.
That's a question.
So that I don't need to wash them.
You're still supple.
They have a nice scent to them.
Pure filthy.
Like slapping a leather couch.
Oh man, that's awesome. Are the rest of you boys gonna get on the leather pants bandwagon or what?
I'll leave that to Oscar.
Yeah, leave that to Oscar.
I need clothes for movement.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't. No, but what Oscar was saying though before, like that moment in the room when you make something new, I feel like for me as well, that's like the best bit about being a musician. It's like you walk into the room, you didn't have something there, then afterward there's something there. It's like that's like the closest I get to being able to like make magic in my life, where it's like I just saw something that I thought in my head, now it's just there. Like it still blows me away. Like even if it's like, yeah, you have some days where you have a really good idea, and that's just like for me, that's what I like live for, is that moment. But then also like when I think when we played at Narrabeen Youth Center.
Yeah,
that gig, seeing them all mosh was like, oh fuck yeah, that's what I want to see. Like I just saw that, like it's the first time with this band, like seeing that. Like a lot of the times I feel like what I've been to so far, like the crowds have been a bit tamer, but I think that's also because we haven't had a headline gig I've played at yet. But when I saw that everyone just moshing, I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to be performing to, is like that energy, because then you really have fun with it and you can like really start interacting. And
that was incredible.
Yeah. So yeah, what Oscar was saying as well, the creating, and especially doing it with other people, is what I miss as well in lockdown. Like I've been doing it by myself, but like especially as a bassist, I like to collaborate. I want to see that, because it's like when you have multiple minds on something, you don't know where it's going to go. Like you wouldn't have thought of that possibility if you're by yourself. So like when I have that with everyone around me, then you just pull something out that's completely unique to that combination of people. It's like, that's epic. It doesn't get much better than that. It's like, that's what I live for. You know, that's probably, like Spinal Tap moment, or probably like, I think the last gig we played, like Oscar like kicked out my cord. We're just fluffing around on stage, like trying to fix it. And I think there was another gig where like Zach as well, his went out at one point, mine went out. Like everyone was just like going out, like, oh fuck, just trying to like play it off like nothing happened, but like that's all part of the show business.
You know, on that wavelength, I just remembered there was this one show where poor Nicky had ordered his dinner and he ordered pizza. And then he had everyone chatting to him on the way in, like saying hi, and he's having all these long conversations. And then it's like, all right, we're on in 5 minutes. Come on, Nicky. And he brings like his pizza up on stage with him, and he's like having mouthfuls in between songs. So he's like trying to chew down pieces of pizza. And then it's like, Nicky, you're supposed to be playing. And he'll be like, oh, sorry. And he's like putting his pizza back down. It was
got another one, the mid gig piss I had to do. I was like, really need to take a piss. And I was like, didn't have time before the show. And I was like, okay. And I knew we had this one break in the set where we don't do like back-to-back songs. So I'm like, all right, this is my chance to like do it. I can't tell anyone, because it's just got to be super quick. Like we're on a time limit, so I just run off stage, take a piss, and it's almost just like you're like 5-minute break between halves. It was like a half-time break. And I'm like, right, just jam myself up to go back out, and I'm feeling relaxed. Don't have to think about holding my piss in. Feeling good, and just get back into it.
I got one more for you. One more Spinal Tap moment. I don't know if this will make it into the podcast, but after rehearsal one day, did end up with a trip to the hospital.
Yes, please say it.
Because somebody was a little too excited with their ear protection.
Excited's the wrong word. That makes it sound weird.
A little too protective.
I think it was more careless. It was careless, man. Because I knew it was like it was broken, and I was like, I've done this before. It's no biggie. Like it's one of those like silicone earbuds, and then like it comes in, then there's like a plastic stick, and it fell out. I'm like, all right, this has happened before. I just got to be careful, like get it back in. But then it wasn't going in. It was just pushing it deeper and deeper. I'm like, oh fuck. Like, that's
we're
not
like
good.
got our phone torches and tweezers, like realizing that we can't get it out. And then how long were you guys at the hospital for? Till like 2 a.m. or something, right?
I was there because we just missed the emergency, like quick turnaround emergency bay. Like those workers had left, so I had to go in the queue with everyone else, and I was there for like 3 hours, and then it took them like 10 seconds to get it out. I'm like, God.
What did they use? A magnet or?
No, they use just like these special tweezers that like dig inside your hole that are designed a certain way, just like push around and then grab it. Like we just didn't have access to that.
The wiring off the in-ear monitors popped in your ear.
Yeah, so it was like a silicone ear, like a silicone ear protection, so that like, you know, like we're rehearsing, we don't want to damage our ears. That's one thing we're very sensitive about. But it was so deep in there, we couldn't see it with the naked eye.
Concerning. It was kind of comical though. I was laughing the whole time when like I think Pete was like getting worried about like not hurting my ear, but I'm just like, dude, I'm at this point. And then Zach was like really trying to like dig in, get it, and then it's like we're just gonna have to call it. It just kept on slipping. It was too oily and waxy down there, so I couldn't get a firm grip.
Like, biggest fear is like something bad happening to my ears. Like I could not imagine damaging somebody else's. That was just, it was too much.
Yeah. I appreciate the thought, but I was just like, you know what? If you do, you're not to blame now. I just want this out of my ear. Yeah, good times. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. I learned my lesson and I get proper ear protection that's not faulty and just replace it when it is.
There you go. So
we had the foam ones there. That was the funny thing. You gave me the foam option, and I was like, "Oh, here's some foam ones." I'm like, "Should have just used that."
Okay.
I still got them in my bag.
This is now a public service announcement for the kids. Be careful with your hearing protection. Use them regularly. Your ears are not to be trifled with. Once your hearing's gone, that's it. It's gone.
Wise words for the people out there.
We're just waiting for the stem cell research, mate. Get the inner ear cells regenerated. That's on the cards. That's hopefully in the next 10, 20 years that's available. Get the 2020 hearing back. Happy days.
Awesome, guys. Now, before we do wrap it up, is there anything you want to plug before we finish, or anything you want to say?
Hi, Mom.
Personally, from me, just thank you guys so much for having us on. And thank you to the people that support us. So all our fans, friends, family. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for being here, man.
Said a lot, but I don't think any of us, honestly, I never would have thought someone would ask me questions about what I do or what we do ever. So thank you so much for your time. And thanks to everyone that continues to support us. I can't explain that to you.
Over the last 3 years when I've been in being in the music and not seeing gigs, I notice your name is always on set, like on lineups every time I see you guys, and every time I talk to someone, they bring you guys up. So you must be doing something really good to be mentioned and being with like great bands on set lists. So guys, thank you for coming on as well.
And thank you so much. I guess that just brings it home for us, man. Thank you so much.